Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Amma ba'du. Bayanu kayfiyati salatin Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Bayanu, clarification or clarifying. Kayfiyati, the how. Salat Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The salat of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So clarifying how the salat of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was. How was his salat? الحديث الخامس والثمانون, the 85th hadith, عن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها قالت, on the authority of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, she said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يستفتح الصلاة بالتكبير. The Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم used to open the salat with takbir by saying Allahu Akbar. وَالْقِرَاءَةَ بِالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ, and by reciting all praises due to Allah, the Lord of all creation. وَكَانَ إِذَا رَكَعَ لَمْ يُشْخِصْ رَأْسَهُ, and when he would make ruku', when he would bend, لَمْ يُشْخِصْ رَأْسَهُ, he would not raise his head. يُشْخِص, from Sheen, Kha, Sad. Lam yushkhis, form 4. He would not raise ra'sahu, his head. Walam yusawwibhu, nor would he lower it. Yusawwibhu here is lower it, even though the author is going to explain this word below. Lam yusawwibhu, he would not hang it down either. Walakin bayna dhalika, however, it was between that. وَكَانَ إِذَا رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ مِنَ الرُّكُوعِ, and if he would raise his head from ruku', from bowing position, لَمْ يَسْجُدْ, he would not prostrate, حَتَّى يَسْتَوِيَ قَائِمًا, until he would stand up straight. يَسْتَوِي قَائِمًا, يَسْتَوِي, to be straight, قَائِمًا, standing up. He would completely stand up straight before he would go into ruku' or sajda. وَكَانَ إِذَا رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ مِنَ السَّجْدَةِ, and when he would raise his head from sajda, from the prostrating position, لَمْ يَسْجُدْ, he would not prostrate again for the second prostration, حَتَّى يَسْتَوِيَ قَائِدًا, until he would sit up straight. He did not do as some people do, as we see them just barely come up and go back down. They don't go up straight first. وَكَانَ يَقُولُ فِي كُلِّ رَكَعَتَيْنِ التَّحِيَّةِ, and he would say between every 2 rakat, meaning after every 2 rakat, he would say التَّحِيَّاتُ لِلَّهِ وَالصَّلَوَاتُ وَالطَّيِّبَاتُ التَّشَهُدُ. وَكَانَ يَفْرِشُ رِجْلَهُ الْيُسْرَى, and he used to yafrishu, from fa rashin, he used to spread out his left foot, meaning spread it out on the earth. وَيَنْصِبُ رِجْلَهُ الْيُمْنَى, وَيَنْصِبُ, from nun sad ba, to erect it, to keep it standing up, keep his right foot erect or standing up. وَكَانَ يَنْهَى عَنْ عُقْبَةِ الشَّيْطَانِ, and he used to prohibit the sitting or the uqbah of shaitan. And this requires some explanation. So if this is the person from the back in the sitting position, then he makes his feet here while his butt cheeks are on the ground. This is what is prohibited. And there are other explanations, but for now, just to make it easy without going into the fiqh and just reading the book, then this is what is meant, inshallah ta'ala. وَيَنْهَى أَنْ يَفْتَرِشَ الرَّجُلُ ذِرَاعَيْهِ إِفْتِرَاشَ السَّبْعِ, and he prohibited for a person, and again here this fa ra sheen, to spread out, and يَفْتَرِشَ الرَّجُلُ, for a man to spread out ذِرَاعَيْهِ, his forearms, إِفْتِرَاشَ السَّبْعِ, to, when making prostration, to, this is the person, to make his hands like this on the earth, where his forearms and everything are on the ground. Rather, his hands should be up, right? Likewise, his feet, right? But his forearms should not be on the ground. The sitting or the spreading out of a sabah, like a lion sits, or a predatory animal, right? Like a lion, he sits and his forearms are on the ground, right? وَكَانَ يَخْتِمُ الصَّلَاةَ, and he used to complete or conclude the salat bit-taslim, with saying assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. وَمَعْنَى لَمْ يُصَوِّبْهُ, and the meaning of لَمْ يُصَوِّبْهُ, as we discussed up above, a meaning لَمْ يَخْفَضْهُ خَفْضًا بَلِيغًا, he did not lower it, meaning his head, a extreme lowering, right? It didn't drop his head down in ruku'. وَمَعْنَى أُقْبَةَ الشَّيْطَانِ, and the meaning of أُقْبَةَ الشَّيْطَانِ هُوَ الْإِقَاءُ فِي الْجُلُوسِ, هُوَ الْإِقَاءُ فِي الْجُلُوسِ, as we described up here, right? To sit on the buttocks in the sitting position. وَصِفَتُهُ أَنْ يُلْصِقَ الرَّجُلُ إِلْيَتَهُ, and the description of this is, what does it mean? إِلْقَاءَ فِي الْجُلُوسِ, its description is أَنْ يَلْصِقَ, from lam sin qaf, lam sad qaf, asaf, lam sad qaf, to stick, less is tape, right? To stick ar-rajulu, for a man to stick ilyatahu, his buttocks, ilya bil ard, to stick his buttocks to the earth, wa yansiba saqayhi, and to keep his shins up, right? Keep his feet up. If that's his shin, that's his knee, right? And sitting like this. وَيَدَعَ يَدَيْهِ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ, and then he places his hands on the earth. So this type of sitting would be prohibited in salah. To have your legs up. This is a foot. This is a shin. This is a thigh. This is the body part, and then this is the hands on the earth, right? This is not a permissible sitting, right? This is uqbat al-shaytan here as well. وَمِنْ فَوَائِدْ وَأَحْكَامِ الْحَدِيثِ, and from the benefits and rulings of the hadith, أولا أن افتتاح الصلاة بقول الله أكبر, that the opening of the salah is by saying Allahu Akbar, حيث إنه لا يكفي للمسلم, to the point where حيث, to the point, إنه, it is, لا يكفي, it is not sufficient, للمسلم, for the Muslim, مجرد النية, مجرد النية, just simply having an intention without saying anything, ولا غير التكبير, and other than the takbir, من ألفاظ التعظيم, right? من ألفاظ التعظيم, nor is it permissible to say anything other than Allahu Akbar, from things that might be the wordings of aggrandizing Allah. So a person can say, for example, Allahu A'lam, and begin salah. All right, Allahu A'la, Allah is the highest, and begin salah. Subhanallah, and begin salah. No, all of this, the only thing permissible is Allahu Akbar, and it's not permissible to not say Allahu Akbar and just have the niyyah for salat. Rather, one must say Allahu Akbar. ثانيا أن القراءة في الصلاة تبدأ بالفاتحة, that the recitation in the salat begins with al-Fatiha. فلو قرأ قبلها شيئا, so if قرأ, he recited, قبلها, before it, شيئا, something من القرآن, something from the Quran, لم يعتد به, it would not be considered or counted. So if someone were to recite something from the Quran, Surah Al-Ikhlas, before Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Ikhlas is not counted for that person. ثالثا مشروعية التسوية بين الرأس والظهر, the legislation of making balanced between the head and the back, making them level. حال الركوع, in the condition or circumstance of bowing. حسب الاستطاعة, as much as حسب الاستطاعة, as much as one is able to. رابعا مشروعية الاستقرار في القيام, the legislation of becoming settled in the qiyam, in the standing, بعد الرجوع في الجلوس بين السجدتين, right? To no, this is this should be وفي, okay, بعد الركوع, not رجوعي, بعد الركوع. I thought it did make sense to me, right? مشروعية استقرار, the legislation of becoming settled في القيام, in standing بعد الركوع. You must go up and stand and settle for a second after the bowing position. وفي الجلوس, and in the sitting position بين السجدتين. So when you sit up between the two sajdas, you must become settled in that sitting position. Right? مشروعية خامسا, fifthly, مشروعية قراءة التحيات في آخر كل ركعتين. The legislation of reciting التشهد التحيات لله at the end of every 2 rakat. سادسا مشروعية الافتراش, مشروعية افتراش القدم, the legislation of spreading out the قدم اليسرى, the left foot, ونصب اليمنى, and erecting the right foot حال الجلوس, in the position of sitting. سابعا النهي عن افتراش الذراعين, of spreading out, the prohibition of spreading out the 2 forearms حال الجلوس, at the time of sitting. At the time of sitting, as we described how a person, what is uqbata, this is a mistake here anyway. Give me a second. النهي عن افتراش الذراعين حال السجود. حال السجود. حال السجود. The prohibition of spreading out the 2 forearms on the ground, iftirash, on the ground, at the time of prostration. هذا والله تعالى أعلم, وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.